Hi, I'm Kristen Oakes-White.
And I'm Avery Davidson. Thank you for joining us for This Week in Louisiana Agriculture, the only TV show bringing Louisiana farmers and consumers together every week. There's a festival in Louisiana that does not involve cotton candy, Ferris wheels, or Cajun food. Now that sounds like it's for the birds. It is.
The Yellow Rails and Rice Festival is one of our state's unique affairs that combines the love of birdwatching with the love of agriculture. As TWILA's Neil Melanson tells us, it might not be for everyone, but it does bring people in from all over the world.
It's time to harvest the second crop of rice here in Jeff Davis Parish, but this combine isn't loaded up to do much harvesting today. Here at Kevin Birkin's farm near Thornwell, what they're bringing in is birders from all over the world.
This year the birders come from 30 states and 4 different countries, Mexico, Canada, Germany, and England.
Birkin is the founder of the Yellow Rails and Rice Festival. The small bird loves to hide in the dense underbrush the rice crop provides. Even when a giant combine comes along, it only flies out fast enough to pop out and pop back in another field. Did you catch it? Let me show you again. It's faster than even I could follow at the time, but when birders do spot one, it's a lifelong dream for some.
They come all around just to see this yellow rail, which is prevalent in our second crop harvest. Except whenever we get 4 inches of rain, they don't like the water. But other than that, they're here, and it's a bucket list bird for the birders.
Andrea Patterson drove from New York just to see one.
It's a long way.
Even though Louisiana is a new experience for Patterson and other birders, they do get familiar with the area and often stick around.
We're going to go down birding closer to the coast, I think, in a couple of days, and I don't know if we have any target birds there. Vermilion flycatcher maybe down at Lacassine, but here at the festival I think just any of the other rails would be great.
It might be hard for some around South Louisiana to understand why such a common sight would drive people here, but it is a unique experience outside Louisiana. One of the other attractions at this festival is a banding workshop, which gives people a chance to work with experienced bird catchers.
Well, one of the things I do back in New York is we catch wild birds and we band them and we age them, and so I wanted to come and learn more about the kinds of birds that we don't catch in New York. And just get some different experiences.
Farmers like Birkin are getting something out of it too. Not only are they learning about the yellow rail, but they're passing on an important message about agriculture.
They are as interested in the rice as they are in the birds. They are as interested to ride on the combine as they are in the birds. So it's a win-win for us. It's an opportunity for us to be able to tell them what's going on with the rice industry. They go back to their birding clubs. They talk about rice and rice farming to all their birding clubs, and sometimes things that go on in Washington really affect us. So they know legislators, throughout their groups and whatnot. So I think it's something that's a win for all of us.
The Yellow Rails and Rice Festival is held every November. They do have a website, and we'll link it to ours on twilatv.org. Now, some of you might remember Kevin from this past August when I interviewed him as Hurricane Harvey was making its way through rice country. He had just finished his first harvest and was hopeful he'd make up ground on the second or ratoon crop. I talked to him about it at the festival, and here's what he had to say.
From what I'm hearing, again, they're off, probably, but it's good. My medium grain is off more than I had hoped. Some of the long grain, the people that I'm talking to, is off. It's not as good as they would like. But I'm not sure it's ever that way with us farmers, but it's not quite as good as you'd like. So, I mean, we're hopeful again for next year. We're always cautiously optimistic, and next year will be that year, man.
One thing that can help farmers like Kevin stay in business is to eat more Louisiana rice. That will also keep tourist dollars coming into our state and spending them where we need it most, our small towns. And guys, this is one of those agritourism projects that just seems like a win-win. And of course, as you mentioned earlier, it's not a festival like a carnival kind of atmosphere. Right. But really, I mean, there were people from Germany, and as you saw, North Carolina and Michigan and New York. And Kevin is really doing a great job telling those people, look, if you like this activity, go home and eat more rice, because that helps keep our fields in rice and it keeps those birds coming.
And you have to think about how much like conservation programs have played into bringing back some of these waterfowl, bringing back the whooping crane.
Right, exactly. And a lot of the people there, the lady I talked to from New York was there with her daughter, and she was going to spend 2 or 3 days around southern Louisiana looking at stuff. And I brought up Avery Island. You know, they have the rookery there, and so you know they're here and they're spending those dollars. We just got to keep them here.
Well, it's certainly an interesting festival, and it made a great story. Neil Melanson, thanks.
Could Louisiana rice farmers one day enjoy a weed-free crop year? That ambition drives new research at the H. Rouse Caffey Rice Research Station in Crowley.
TWILA's AJ Sabine has the details on exciting new developments of one rice scientist's work.
LSU AgCenter rice breeder Adam Famoso weighs in on a discovery that will help rice growers control post-emergence grasses, including red rice. Provisia, a rice system developed by BASF, aims to help Clearfield Technologies defeat herbicide-resistant red rice.
Long term, we see this technology, once we get the varieties up yielding where our Clearfield varieties are, being used in a regular rotation with Clearfield or conventional rice to help prevent spread of the herbicide technology to the weedy rice.
Famoso explains that the Provisia research will complement the Clearfield production systems that many rice growers here in Louisiana have enjoyed for years. With this new technology, Famoso says consumers will see a benefit down the road.
Consumers will benefit indirectly from a more sustainable rice industry. Producers will have more options in how they manage their crop. If you have a field that's infested with red rice, that costs the producers many steps throughout the production cycle. It limits how they have to seed their crop. It reduces yields when you have red rice in the field, and it can lower the price you get at the mill.
Provisia is a genetic mutation and not a GMO product. Famoso says the variety will be released in 2018. While the grains appear somewhat longer than expected, this variety has great potential.
One of the good characteristics of the PVL01 is it has a very low chalk value. The chalk value here is 4.1%. So that percentage basically implies of all the grains, the total area of chalk is 4.1%. That value puts it on par with cypress, which is a very well-known variety, and it's kind of the gold standard for chalk. So chalk is a major focus of the program and very important trait to the industry, and PVL01 offers a very good chalk value and just general grain appearance.
With this new tool, rice growers will likely jump at the chance to plant it next year.
The Provisia technology is a very exciting technology for the rice industry, especially in Louisiana, where we struggle with weedy red rice. Our previous technology, Clearfield technology, has been very successful, has revolutionized the way we can grow rice in this area. But over time, that technology has faced some hurdles in that the Clearfield trait is outcrossed to the weedy rice.
For This Week in Louisiana Agriculture, I'm AJ Sabine.
According to Dr. Famoso, the Provisia rice system will be an excellent tool for rice producers and will extend the life of the Clearfield technology. For more information about Dr. Famoso's work, log on to our website at twilatv.org. Well, for the last few weeks, Carl Wiggers has been bringing us stories about the farm-to-school movement that is happening across the country. Farm-to-school focuses on food, procurement, school gardens, and education.
In Louisiana, more than 530 schools participate in the farm-to-school program, according to the USDA. This week, Carl takes us to Richland Parish, where all 11 schools in the district are benefiting from a fresh approach to school gardens.
On the campus of Rayville High School, these greenhouses look like perfectly ordinary functioning greenhouses. But it was not long ago that these greenhouses were in shambles.
In the summer of 2015, we started working on these greenhouses that were sitting here empty. And we built them and put vegetables in them to give to our schools.
That's Rory Gresham. He's the greenhouse manager of Richland Parish Produce. Now, this unique setup is the result of a lot of teamwork between Rory, his wife Beverly, and Gracie, the director of food services for Richland Parish Schools.
We wanted something that we could use in the cafeteria and include it as part of farm to school, because I grew up on a farm too. You can't beat farm produce, especially when it's fresh out of a garden.
A school garden to grow lettuce and tomatoes is great, but Gracie was thinking much bigger than that.
We were kind of unique because we wanted to do it hydroponically.
We're in a 20 by 50 greenhouse. This is 1,800 head of lettuce. We produce 300 head a week. It's on a 6-week rotation through here. This lettuce on the outside edge is less than a week old. This is coming up 6. It's ready to harvest. So we do 300 head a week out of here. You couldn't do this in a field.
Technically, you could. It would just take a lot more land, more labor, and more money. Conventional farming is also a struggle because of when the school needs all of this produce.
We can't find farmers who have a growing season past when we start to school. The tomatoes here, we're able to supply our schools every week with fresh tomatoes.
It's a tremendous amount of food if you say we're doing 300 head of lettuce a week out of a 20 by 50. These are 30-foot runs, and we're producing 300 head a week. That's a lot of lettuce.
By putting these fresh vegetables in the lunchrooms of Richland Parish schools, Hosea is able to bring the farm fresh foods to nearly 3,000 students and faculty every day.
We have efficiently brought, I think, farm to school to our environment here at Rayville.
It's something I believe in. I think this is the healthiest vegetables we can give to schools. I've seen our kids increase their amount of salads they're eating.
My only regret is that I was limited on the amount of space that I had to start up with, because if I could cover the whole campus in greenhouses, I would.
Each week, these greenhouses yield more lettuce and tomatoes than they use in their schools. So what happens to the surplus? Well, that gets sold to wholesalers like Robertson Produce or restaurants like Stonehouse Eats that we featured a couple weeks ago right here on the show. They also have customers come and buy directly from them there in the greenhouse, and this actually happened while I was there. To learn more about how Richland Parish schools are growing their own food, head over to our website at twilatv.org. And Kristen, I've got to say, they sent me home with 3 heads of lettuce and probably 3 or 4 pounds of tomatoes, and they were some of the best produce I've had in a little while.
You said the tomatoes were pretty unbeatable.
Oh my gosh, they grow cherry tomatoes for their salads because they want to grow stuff they use in their salads at school, and we were sitting there eating them straight off the vine in the greenhouse. It was one of those tasty stories to go shoot, that's for sure.
Are they seeing a lot more kids eating off of the salad bar because of this?
They have. They told me in the first week that they produced their own salads, they made I think 18 salads at Rayville High School, 18 salads in the first week, and now they're making around 75 a day.
Wow. Well, that's an awesome story. You know I love gardening stories, so great story, Carl Wiggers. Well, Louisiana finally got some news we've been waiting on. Craig McCain and Carrie Castile were part of a whole slate of appointments made by USDA Secretary Sonny Perdue. McCain was reappointed as the director of the Louisiana Farm Service Agency, a position he has been serving as since former director Willie Cooper retired. The director not only runs the government services day-to-day across the state, but also is instrumental in providing feedback to the government about the needs farmers have in Louisiana. Willie Cooper was the longtime director through several administrations, which provided a great deal of stability for the state's agriculture as a whole. Kyle McCann with the Louisiana Farm Bureau said producers are hopeful that stability continues with McCain's appointment.
We're extremely excited that Craig McCain was appointed to the position of Director of FSA for the state of Louisiana. Louisiana agriculture has benefited greatly over the years by having a career type person in this role. That means you've got somebody that has institutional knowledge of how programs are implemented, how they've been implemented in the past. And in a state where we oftentimes are the first to implement because of our cropping cycle and windows of planting and the like, it's good to have somebody in that position that can look down the road a little bit on these implementation matters, see what issues we need to address before they become a great big problem. So it's great that Craig is going to be in this role. He's served previously. He implemented the 2014 Farm Bill, did an excellent job, he and his staff, and it's good to see that he's going to be back in that role, and I know Louisiana Agriculture will be really well served by him.
Also included in that slate of appointments was Dr. Carrie Castile as State Director for Rural Development. The position is designed to help with the needs of rural Louisiana as a whole, which often intersects with agriculture. Dr. Castile has previously served at both the Louisiana Department of Agriculture and Forestry as well as the LSU AgCenter.
Some Louisiana sweet potato farmers delayed their harvest in order to give their potatoes more time to reach market size. That harvest is almost complete here in Louisiana, and as TWILA's Craig Gotros shows us, many producers had very good yields.
It's been a late and very dry harvest for Louisiana sweet potato farmers. While the growing season was wet, the harvest has been plagued by drought-like conditions, which are causing some problems in the fields.
If we get some clumpiness in the soil, we can have some skinning, which is something we try to avoid, especially for potatoes that go into a fresh market.
Some farmers delayed their harvest or have stopped altogether to give their crop more time to grow and reach the size preferred by consumers. Weather conditions will determine the length of the delay.
2 to 3 week period, maybe, to get these potatoes to size. We get some, if they can go back and irrigate the fields, or we get some rain in the cooler nights, that'll speed the process up.
Growers have been pleased by the yields they are finding in the fields and are surprised by it, considering how difficult the growing conditions were.
I'm here in the fields that they're being able to harvest a lot of 600 bushel stuff this year. That's an exceptional good year. I mean, the statewide average normally in most years is 4 to 425, somewhere in that range.
Tropical Storm Harvey came through the week before many farmers were scheduled to start their harvest, delaying it. Harvey did not appear to cause any damage, but once the harvest began, the damage became more evident.
Harvey dropped 7 to 9 inches in some locations. Initial thought was maybe it didn't have an impact, but I think as we moved into harvest, especially that soil type retained water more than we thought it did, and that's what we saw the problem with the potatoes.
Prices remain good for growers, and consumers should find plenty of fresh sweet potatoes soon. With the LSU AgCenter, this is Craig Gotro reporting.
Louisiana farmers grow about 9,300 acres of sweet potatoes, which ranks us 4th in the nation, and I cannot wait to get some of them. I love sweet potatoes at this time of the year.
Oh, I love them all times of the year. I bet that I'm probably the state's #1 consumer.
Still to come on TWILA, congressmen are getting social on farms across the country.
But first, Louisiana farmers are lending a hand at home and beyond. Stay with us. Louisiana's honey industry has a value of $5.1 million according to the LSU AgCenter.
However, what bees do for other plants through pollination may be priceless. Last week we introduced you to Master Craftsman beekeeper Amy Weeks of Ouachita Parish. She is part of LSU Ag Leadership Class 15. As part of her class project, Weeks and a few other classmates got together to start this barn raiser campaign. If you don't know about barn raiser, the easiest way to explain it is crowdfunding for agricultural projects. Weeks and her classmates are trying to raise $3,900 to buy a honeybee wax foundation press to send to beekeepers who live in the country of Guyana, which is in South America. What that machine does is give bees a jump start on making the cells where they store nectar, which becomes honey. Weeks says such a machine will help beekeepers there increase their colonies. That's important for Guyana because this country is dealing with a problem we know all too well in Louisiana, coastal erosion. In a cute video, Weeks explains how honeybees help stop coastal erosion in Guyana.
Meet Honeybee, and this is a mangrove tree. Honeybee and her friends are busy little bees. They fly from flower to flower pollinating. The mangrove tree's unique root system helps prevent erosion in Guyana. Without a healthy crop, the shoreline would wash away into the ocean, and that would be sad.
That would be sad. You can receive a gift for your donation if you choose to do so. The Barn Raiser site will be up until December 15th. If Weeks does not reach her goal of $3,900 by then, the project will not be funded at all. So please, every little bit helps. You can find a link to the Barn Raiser site on our website at twilatv.org.
That's an excellent story, Avery. Another group is working to help others. In this case, it's the Louisiana Farm Bureau Women's Leadership Committee. In honor of Veterans Day, committee members visited 6 veterans' homes across the state bearing gifts. We caught up with the committee's chair at the Veterans Home in Reserve.
I'm Denise Cannatella, and I am the chairman of the Louisiana Farm Bureau Women's Leadership Committee. And today we are here in Reserve, Louisiana, at the Reserve Veterans Home, where we are celebrating our veterans. We are here to honor them by providing them with coffee, interacting with them by playing bingo, and just visiting with the men and women who have afforded us the life that we get to live here in this country. Because of them, I get up every morning in a safe environment. My children and grandchildren are safe, and it provides me the opportunity to get up and go about my daily life, helping my husband and son on our farm, growing the crops and raising the animals we do. It's a great way to thank them for everything that they have done for us. Our veterans like coffee. They like it a lot, and they love sweets. So we do our best to provide them with that so that they don't have to worry where the next cup of coffee will come from. Not that they probably would, but it makes us at Farm Bureau, the farmers and ranchers, feel really happy that we can provide this for them, to give it to them. For me personally, it helps me, it actually puts me on a high, I guess, to come here. I love interacting with people, and especially our elderly citizens. I love to hear about what they did back in their day and learn from their experiences. To me, it's always been a great opportunity to find out what went on in the past that brought us to the future. I just ask that all of those out there that will see this story, give a few minutes of your day and visit a local vet in your community. If you aren't fortunate enough to have a veterans home in your area, find a vet. They're in every city and state in this country, and thank them for the service that they have given all of us and for the life that we get to lead today.
And it really is a great project. To learn more about the Louisiana Farm Bureau Women's Leadership Committee, visit our website at twilatv.org.
Still to come on TWILA, football and farming meet in a showdown worthy of trending on TWILA. Stay with us.
Well, what's happening on social media this week? Folks in the ag community are standing up and speaking out for agriculture online.
This week we saw Maryland farmer Jenny Schmidt's article, Invitation to Tom Brady, Visit My Farm and Learn Food Facts, go viral on social media. Schmidt challenges many of the claims the NFL quarterback writes about in his best-selling book, The TB12 Method, where he shares his opinions and criticisms about farming and food production. Schmidt says, quote, Brady is as free to play armchair farmer as I am to play armchair quarterback. But if he wants to know the facts about today's agriculture, he should come visit my farm and learn the facts. If you want to read the entire article, we posted a link on our Facebook page as well as on our website, twilatv.org.
In the last few weeks, we've seen the House Committee on Agriculture launch a very successful new graphic series called Farm Bill Facts to educate the consuming public about American agriculture and the policies that impact our industry. This week's fact is, in 2017, U.S. corn farmers produced more than 15 billion bushels. That's enough corn to fill more than 214,000 Olympic swimming pools. That's a whole lot of corn.
I wish I had a corny joke to go with it.
Jeez.
We end this trending segment with one of the best feel-good stories we saw online this week. A community of farmers banded together to help harvest a Nebraska farmer's crop after he was killed in a motorcycle crash. More than a dozen people turned out with combines, tractors, and semi-trucks to help Joe Penny's grieving family harvest 600 acres of soybeans. His daughter says the act of kindness was so moving and it filled their family with hope and gratitude during a difficult time.
That's a great story. Well, now it's time for this week's TWILA Trivia. Last week we asked you, which region in the world do pumpkins originate from? And the correct answer is C, Central America. This week our trivia question is, the average U.S. farmer produces enough food and fiber for roughly how many people? Is it A, 165, B, 100, or C, 75? To enter this week's trending trivia contest, simply log on to your Facebook or Twitter account and post your answer with the hashtag TWILA Trivia, or you can always submit your answer on our website at twilatv.org. Well, that does it for this edition of TWILA. Be sure to join us next week when we bring you a special Thanksgiving edition of TWILA with a fresh new feasting on agriculture.
And we have a lot to be thankful for, I can tell you that much. Until then, you can watch all of our stories online at twilatv.org, and be sure to like us on Facebook, follow us on Twitter and Instagram.
For all of us here at TWILA, thanks for joining us. We hope to see you again right here next week.